What's up everyone, my name is Gots, and I will be looking over my favorite hunter, Ullr today, the glorious one. So, let's go ahead and start with his difficulty. It says here that he is hard. I pretty much disagree with this almost completely. The only reason being is probably because he's a little more complex, and the global cooldowns might kill you due to his stance switching, and the mana consumption that's high due to stance switching. And you could see there he could switch between his bows and his axes, and the only I honestly believe that this god is really easy. He was the first hunter that I really got to know, so he has a pretty soft spot in my heart. You can see there he has a an X rating that is, yeah. So this is the first hunter that I really got to learn, and because of that I really got into the ADC role. And yeah, so next is the pros. He has high sustain. Agree with that one completely. That is due to the inherent lifesteal in his axes when he switches that stance. He does have a difficult time in early team fights. He has less presence due to the lack of an ult like Neith's, and although that may be true, in later team fights when he gets online and hunter ults matter a little bit less. They're not completely useless, but they matter a little bit less. They're more about the attack speed and all that. He has a larger presence because of his base stats, and we'll get into that a little bit. He is very survivable, and he has very, very long range abilities. So sometimes you may see gods getting away with 1 or 2 health. That's usually not the case with an Ullr. He'll almost always get away with killing the enemies because of his long range abilities. So talking about his base stats here, I'm just gonna go into this a little bit. So you can see here I have Ullr down as the highest base HP at 2080 at level 20, and also he has the highest base stats when he's level 1 as well. He has the highest attack speed, which is the second thing. That is 0.96 and 1.25, and you may think there's a bigger, Cupid has higher attack speed. That's not the case because of his ultimate. It's a constant steroid, so basically you get plus 25% attack speed without even doing anything, basically. So in that way he has the highest attack speed. He doesn't have the highest physical power. That belongs to Apollo and On Her early game, and Hui late game. And and Rama as well has the highest physical power early game, and as well he has the highest physical protections. So overall Ullr is probably one of the best base stats hunters. But getting away from these stats, you don't want to always look at the stats, because stats can lie to you, honestly, because 560 health can go away by the snap of a finger, just like that, right? Hunters, or the bowmen, the archer minions will just eat away at that 560 health, so not really useful. But the base 2080 health is huge, especially as a hunter, and yeah, that makes him really useful in surviving and all that, which makes him a great choice for solo if you're interested in that. But we're looking at the ADC role in the long lane today, so let's get right in and look at his passive. That is Weapon Master. So when Ullr uses an ability in either stance, his cooldowns in the opposite stance are reduced. So basically when you push your ultimate button, your ultimate is available at level 1, so just keep that in mind. It has 0 cost, but it has a cooldown of 1 second. So what that means is you have access to 6 abilities at level well, technically you have access to 7 abilities at level 3. That would be your number 1, your 2, 3, and 4. And then if you switch it, then you have another 3, 2, and 1. So that gives you a total of 7 abilities plus your passive. So there's a lot of not really a lot of complexity to Ullr, but it may confuse a newer player how you have to kind of know when to switch stances and all that. But I mean, it's kind of obvious because axes are close quarters, bow is long range, etc., etc. So starting out with number one, that's called Weapon Master. It's pretty insignificant. It just reduces your cooldown. Like, say, I use Bladed Arrow in my bow form, then it has a cooldown of 14 seconds. You switch to your axes, and then you use your axe. All of a sudden, you're down to 13 seconds instead of 14-second cooldown. So, not really a game changer. A 1 second could save you, could kill you, but I mean, it's not that huge. So, just gonna kind of disregard Weapon Master for the most part. So, coming into Bladed Arrow here, you see that it's our main lane clear because it's a line ability. So the bow passes through all enemies but not walls, so it won't go through things like the jungle walls or Amir walls, but it will go through deployables like Vulcan's turret. And the axes stop at first enemy, but it does stun them up to 1.4 seconds, and because of this, it is used as initiation. I have a few Ullr videos. You can see that I use my axe a lot. It is very, very useful. That stun is huge, 1.4 seconds, and then 1 second at rank 1. That is huge for a stun. Very good. And very, very long range. 70 units, I believe, for both of them. So if you feel like you're getting axed from like huge amounts of range, I mean, it's very, very possible. Ullr can just throw axes at will, and 70 units is nothing to him, really. Pretty high damage. It has more damage than his 3, but it has less scaling than his 3. So just keep that in mind. You'll probably want to level this first because it has the higher damage but less scaling. Next, you have Expose Weakness or Invigorate. So for the bow, it is just a physical power buff, and for the axes, it is a movement speed buff. So ranged, Ullr gains bonus physical power for 5 seconds. Melee, Ullr gains bonus move speed for 5 seconds. So these effects are lost if Ullr changes stances, so keep that in mind. The buffs do not carry over. If I pop it when I'm in my bow stance, I won't get the physical power and the movement speed when I'm in my axe stance if I pop it again. So, kind of important to keep in mind. You don't want to use your number 2 in a bow stance for like 1 second and then all of a sudden switch to your axes. So you need to be very careful of that. Try not to waste your mana on using this. The physical power is nice to have. I would suggest at least ranking this once and then focusing on your Bladed Arrow and Hail of Arrows next. Because of that movement speed that you can also use to get out of base faster, get out of sticky situations, etc. like that. So yeah. Next is Hail of Arrows or Glory Bound. So for the bow, it's an AoE and very, very, very high scaling, 120% of your physical power. And I believe this is the second or third highest scaling ability that isn't an ultimate. Maybe even for ultimates, I'm not quite sure. I'm sure the next highest scaling is about 130% of physical power or magical power. It depends on what class it is. But yeah, this is massive, 120%. So like if you have 100 physical power, all of a sudden you're doing 360 damage, right? Very, very strong in that way. But on the flip side, the damage that you give to your axes is not as much. 170 with 50% of your physical power. So just looking at those stats, we're not going to be using this to initiate at all. Instead, we'll be using this as a main escape. So if you want to take a look at this, you can see here that the AoE is quite small for Ullr's 3 in the bow stance. It is about equal to Janus's Portal on the ground. That is his number 1, not his ultimate. Need to look again. And then his 3 has a quite a larger AoE, about equal to Vulcan's meatball. You can just take a look at that there. And we'll get back to Smite. So yeah, he's kind of comparable to those in the AoE. This is a very hard skill shot. It takes a lot of, well, not a lot of skill, but a lot of practice to hit. And you can also use it for a couple other things like poke and additional clear. So always keep that in mind, but always keep in mind the mana. At max rank it's 90 mana, and that gets up there when his max mana is about 1030. So just be careful of using all of your mana when you don't have any to escape, because you'll want to use your invigorate and your glory bound to escape. That is a movement speed buff and a jump. So, and as well, although you don't really use it to initiate, you can use glory bound to close the gap when chasing an enemy. So just keep those in mind. And finally we come to his ultimate, which doesn't really count as an ultimate, I guess. That's wield axes slash wield bow. So Ullr changes stance. Now, despite the tooltip, you don't actually have to like level this up. This is available at level 1, so you have your axes and your bow available at level 1, but the passives and stuff don't actually come into effect until you rank your number 4. So what this means is you won't have that physical lifesteal of 5% until you're level 5. That's a big mistake I see a lot of people make, is an Ullr in the solo lane just always on his axes because he thinks he has lifesteal. That's actually not the case. This doesn't come into effect until you level up your rank, your ultimate. So you usually want to keep off the wield axes until you're level 5 or so if you're trying to use it for the lifesteal. You could use it for the other abilities before level 5, but if you're looking to use it for the lifesteal, then that is not a good idea. Because of the lifesteal, oops, I don't have it on here. The lifesteal for a hunter with the Devo Glove build, I believe, is somewhere around the 40s, and that will be, yes, 40%. So the full Devourer Glove build will give you 40% lifesteal. With full ranked ult, you'll have an additional 25% lifesteal, so that will give you a total of 65% lifesteal as an Ullr, hitting with your axes. So if you just pop your sprint 3, and then you use your axes with the Devo Glove, you'll be hitting 65%, and they really won't be able to keep up with you. You could really go man mode on these guys. So it's very fun. I love doing that on Siege and other game modes like that. Very fun. So yeah, let's just take him into jungle practice here, show you some of the things that I like to do as a leader.
Today, glory will be up.
Okay. Wow, that was a big lag spike. Okay, so a lot of people like going into the Heartseeker build with Ullr because of his safety and just the overall strength of the Heartseeker build. I don't like going into Heartseeker at all with Ullr, so I just start off with my casual Bluestone, Spike Gauntlet, and 1 health pot. By the end of by level 5, you probably should be, or level 5 or level 6, 7, you should have full Devourer's Gloves, and then go into Ninja Tabby, Ikavol, Executioner, Rage, and the Deathbringer. Occasionally, you'll want to swap out, say, Deathbringer or Rage. Depends on, it depends. usually Deathbringer, you'll want to switch it out with Titan's Bane, and that would be for if you're facing a super tanky team, like if you have two Guardians on the opposite team, one in the jungle, one as support, or if you have a Guardian, a Warrior, something like that, you'll probably want to switch it out for a Titan's Bane to get that additional penetration, so that you can bring those tanky guys down faster. It will hinder your abilities to box effectively a little bit, but I think it's very worthwhile. So starting out, you'll want to actually grab Hail of Arrows. The reason for that is it'll give you faster lane clear for the jungle camps when you're first starting out. You have that AoE to kill those jungle camps faster for your mid and for you. So just keep that in mind, and then once you're done, once you're actually in lane, then you get your bladed arrow, and then I would skip getting this at level 4, I believe, and then just put as many points into this as possible, and then rank up your ultimate there, so that you get that physical lifesteal and the attack speed on the bow, and that will really put you ahead as far as your your usefulness in lane. And then after getting your ultimate, probably get expose weakness / invigorate. That is yeah. So going over here, I'll show you how to clear some camps. Just I would pull aggro from 1, put him like that, and then use your 1. Easy pickings, not bad. You can see there, that's what the invigorate looks like. You'll see that his axes glow, and then go like that, his bow glows, and you'll see that my cooldown was reduced. So let's try that again. This is his axe, thrown axe, right? And I'll go like this, switch, go like that, switch back, and then my cooldown will have reduced very, very, very slightly. Not very noticeable now. We're just gonna level up to level 20. So, I have all my attack speed items, so I will be finished at about 1.9 with just rank 1 of my ultimate, but as we go up, it doesn't change. Oh, I'm sorry, I was in the wrong stance. It goes up to 2.14, so you see there, he has the highest base attack speed without building additional attack speed items. And very, very useful. And he just does a ton of damage. Ton of damage, tons of attack speed, and that is why I love him. He just has a really straightforward kit. You know, you just use your 3, your 1, you know, occasionally use your 2. Other than that, it's not bad. So just put your 3 at the front there, and it'll clear most of the wave out, leaving like 1 or 2 minions left. That is late game clear. You can see already that it's taken about a sliver of my mana, about an 1/8 or so. You probably want to conserve your mana, especially when things get hairy and you want to escape. So I'll go ahead and use my 3, use my 1, and that's the wave. And then while that is down, you still have your whole kit left in your second stance. So very useful, really. And the movement speed is huge. Like, look how fast I'm running. 40%, it's crazy. So here's the raw bot. So usually what you're going to be doing is clearing a wave, and unless you're facing like a Neath or someone who has better clear than you, you'll probably be cleared first, and you'll have your minions. So you just walk up and you hit them with the axe, and then they're stunned, and you can just go ahead and auto attack them to death for 1.4 seconds. that is probably the best thing about Ullr, is the plays you can make with the axe. It's quite crazy, really. That's even without the crit. So what you want to do is pick up your greater sprint right after you pick up the executioner, so that you can just gas pedal these guys, and then pick up greater purification either before executioner or after rage. You don't want to wait until level 20 to pick this up. See right there, you'll just you'll do quite a bit of damage, especially on a hunter that doesn't build any physical defense. You'll be doing probably about a quarter or so of their health, plus the actual attack, auto attacks. You're just gonna be hitting like a truck basically as Ullr. It's quite a sensation to feel. And you can jump over walls, you can run fast. This won't pass through walls. This won't pass through walls either. And this just has long range. Usually you'll see it'll be at the 70 mark over there. Can't really see it with my actual health bar right there. You can see usually it'll be to 70. This goes way beyond 70 at about the 90 mark. And there have been plays made where you can't even see the guy, you just use your hail of arrows and all of a sudden it says that you have a player kill. It's just the beauty of Ullr. And by the end you'll have 2080 health, highest health for hunters, and it will be a very, very good time. Aside from that, there's not much to Ullr. Again, he's quite the straightforward god. I don't know why they put them as hard. I would definitely give it to... I would give this god to a brand new player. Very useful. But I think that's it from me, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please drop a like, favorite, and subscribe.